We're back again with Quad City International Airport Executive Director Ben Leischner. A lot of the growth people would like to see at the airport does come down to money. We were talking a little bit about that before the break. Tax revenue is an obstacle at the airport. A bill in Illinois' last legislative session would have let the airport authority collect property taxes from all 18 townships in Rock Island County rather than the 7 it's allowed to now. That didn't get out of committee. There isn't the political will for that, it seems. I've talked to some lawmakers about this as well. How important would this revenue source, though, be to the airport?
Well, at this point, any revenue source is important. We talked about that with parking, where it's, I love the idea of making costs lower for passengers or users or anybody in the county. But revenue right now is critical to maintaining existing air service, but also building new air service opportunities.
It's a delicate issue, certainly. Now, we had the new Chamber of Commerce president on the program a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the airport issues. Paul Rumler, certainly very involved in the past and in his different role at the time, is certainly very interested now. He told us recently that he thinks Iowa should be a revenue source as well. That they're not, the airport's in Illinois, so only Illinois is ponying up for it. What do you think about that? How can something like that actually happen? Because it is a delicate issue to try to broach the subject of having Iowa put up more.
Well, I'm still new to the area.
Sure.
I don't understand the mechanics or the politics of how some of that would work.
Well, taxes in general are political.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely, and I get that. And I think as an end state, again, my end state would be that we don't rely on any tax money as the airport. It's all user-generated fees to sustain the airport. But it sure does make a lot of sense for a regional asset to be covered regionally. I just don't see that being the next step. I see some probably building blocks as you work your way there. Equity within the county would probably be the first thing where you look at expanding within the county.
What kind of partnerships do you think can be explored to generate more revenue or attract more service?
Well, it sounds like a lot of the partnerships historically have been in place, so I look forward to actually getting in there and starting to work on those relationships and understanding what's been done to date. I don't want to necessarily reinvent the wheel. I think I probably have a little bit of a different approach than past directors for the airport. A little bit of a different background where maybe we can take the old approach and put a new spin on it and see some success.
Now, we've talked about some of the initial needs you need to do here, and you talked about working on the building blocks. Let's take a little bit longer view out. What would you like to see the airport in 5 years realistically?
5 years realistically, I would honestly like to see us on a completely different trajectory than where we've been the last 5 years, which has been a steady decrease. I would look for, within a year or two, some stabilization in the market and starting to build some support locally, and then start seeing some success in adding air service, seeing our employment numbers going up, which will help drop the costs for the airlines. And I think it'll start to perpetuate itself as we start to get some ridership going, as sort of the economy starts to get a little stronger regionally, which I look to Paul and his team with the QCC on building that and using that collaboration.
Well, Quad City International Airport Executive Director Ben Leischner, thanks so much for the conversation this morning. We wish you well in everything at the airport. We hope to see you again in the future. That brings us to our question of the week. What would it take to get you to fly in and out of the Quad City International Airport more often? Send your answer by email to fortherecord or WHBF.com, or respond to this post on Facebook at the Local 4 News WHBF TV page or on my page.